If you're ready to talk, we're willing to listen.
Well, I really enjoy this program today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
May God bless every person.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome. It is a wonderful, wonderful windy in some places wet, but it's a Wednesday all the same. 949-8037 or 1-800-534-8255. We're going to start out with some open line. Who knows where it'll take us. It may not be a hook at the end. The bait might be set, but boy, what a fishing trip we can go on. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today, the Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program. We ask our listeners to avoid statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use any indecent language or make any statement which is false or misleading. Email talktoday@candw.ky or call 1-800-534-8255.
Courtesy of Flow.
Cayman's #1 network that connects you to your world like never before.
Let your voice be heard. Once again, here's your host, Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back. Thank you for sharing with us as we invite you to be a part of our discussion. And start things off with what may amount to an apology, partial explanation, I don't even know. So, had to be somewhere this morning. I'm glad that we have those resources and we can go there and do it. But hey, had to be, so I'm glad that I was. But you know, when you're congregated and you're assembled and you're waiting and you have to spend time, what better way than have people pull you aside and, you know, whisper in your ear, pinch you, you know, sometimes even intrigue you with what they share. Other times they might even take it to task. So while we're waiting, someone leans across and says, you know, but listen now, this government radio station, I will not endeavor because I don't think I can do, you know, it in the same tone that he did it. But suffice to say that in a very strong, you know, tone to reflect that he is of the soil, he says, you know, this government radio station, we need to kind of get things going because his perspective is that it seems that the politicians, not just this set, but the ones before, are of the mindset that, you know, this is their station, a propaganda machine, he calls it. And so we as a people can't say, I listen for a bit and I say, but it'll only be that if we allow it to be, you know. He said, well, boy, he noticed that sometimes, you know, with the exception of Mr. O.C., when you call the talk shows, you know, so I said, well, there's only two that I know of. You don't get to say what you want to say if it's anti-government in a sense. I said, well, okay, but then do you want to bite the hand that feeds you? You got to kind of be careful sometimes. We had a discussion. I'll share with you some of the things he said, but let me ask the question. Do you agree with him? And if so, if you don't take the opportunity and challenge and champion, as the case may be, and share your thoughts, then you've already achieved that thing which you have set out to say to be the case. So if you believe that your voice is curtailed and you don't take the opportunity to just test it, think of a young child. You know, they test the borders and their boundaries. They check it out. You know, push the envelope sometimes. They want to know, and you let them. Sometimes you find that they'll, what is it? You know, you give them an inch to take a yard. Well, it's the same with some people. You know, they take license and liberty. They say, well, it's easier to ask forgiveness at times than permission. Now, having said all that, certainly we need to be responsible and respectful, but sometimes we need to say what we want to say, get it off our chest, as we know that their forefathers used to do. They would very willingly, without prompting, stand in the gap. In today's context, is it, as the gentleman was sharing with me earlier, that we do not, you know, venture in certain waters because we don't want to offend, and with the government radio station, as he puts it. Now, my perspective is it's not the government radio station, it's the people's radio station. This happens to be machinery, as he puts it, that the government today can use, but so too can the wider community. Now, I don't think we should advocate and certainly promote people saying things that are derogatory, but if it's a statement that is factual and it may be offensive, well, we should not necessarily limit or prevent people from sharing it, but it should not be defamatory in any which way. Now, how do we strike the balance? Well, it should be quite easy. Civility should always prevail, but equally a sense of responsibility and commitment to the greater good above all. Now, give you a couple of things that he brought to my attention. He said he saw a few areas where there were some sort of ventures of development taking place, and he thought, well, how is that allowed there? And there was a time when it wasn't. How is this person able to do this? And he know that people couldn't get through with something, even a fraction of that. And then he went on with different issues, and he thought, is it a case that it's the victor go the spoils? If you got the money, you can pay and get what you want. You don't have to stand in line like everybody else. You don't have to follow the normal channels as everybody else. He gave us an example. This notion that we're looking at 10 stories in height in our buildings, in some cases more, even though they're probably within an approved 10 stories. Every building, the condos are being torn down to be rebuilt higher. We're seeing in some places, as you've seen recently, neighbours in a particular area have now complained that a little piece of land is not only very, very small, but the structure that's being proposed is, in their views, ugly and nasty. To the fact that, as they've said, well, what is this going to do for that overall tourism product that we've spent hundreds of millions of dollars over the decades trying to build and to promote and to establish? Will this devalue that? And by extension, directly devalue their adjoining properties, but devalue the economy. And then if things are being approved, is there a process that should be followed one and all? So if there are notifications that should be sent out, are they being sent out in a timely manner to the right people? If it's that something can only be approved in this area, in this setting, then if there is some, I think the word that people use, some variance given, is it because it's going to be beneficial, not because, and you fill in the blank. People may say, well, deal being struck here, money being paid there, the people who are connected have this, that, or the next thing. Now, back to the gentleman's comment, he's saying that in our society, we're seeing that it's a free-for-all, and will that cause the country, in very short order, not just in a generation from now, not just in, by the next election, but perhaps before the end of the year, to be so disrupted, potentially, a lot of social unrest. People are saying, well, I can't seem to make ends meet. Now, is that something that potentially is happening, could happen to a greater extent? What are your thoughts? Back to his sentiments. The government radio station, you're not being used to inform the people. He called it a propaganda machine. Now, is it as such? Don't think so. But maybe I'm not looking at it as objectively and impartially as I probably think I am or should. So you take me to task and tell me what you think. 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255. Now, I'll give you two other perspectives. One from another comment from a fellow this morning when he heard the conversation, and the other from someone yesterday after the show. So the fellow this morning said, listen, okay, 10 stories, you might like it. 50 stories might be too much, but why not 15 stories? Why not 30 stories? Why not have the conversation? Now, he asked me, well, what do you think? Well, I was tempted to share my opinion, but I said, no, you know what? Sometimes you say what you're thinking, and then you end up not hearing what is it that is really on their mind. Now, to the gentleman's point that maybe 50 stories is too much for the country because of the size. But then, to his point, because of the size, maybe we need to consider, as long as, I think this is what he alluded to, that the grounds on which we build on can sustain a building. Now, I'm not an engineer, but I'm told by people who do, when you build a tall building, you see a lot of the building above the ground. There's also a lot of the structure, below the ground as well to hold it up. Now, it may not be as simple as that, but somehow you think there's some physics involved there to keep that structure, standing safely above. There is that issue. But what about safety of the people in the building to be able to get in and out if something happens, a fire or the like? Speaking of fires, do we have the resources within our fire service to very safely and timely deal with an issue in the building, what about the emergency services such as the ambulance and the EMTs and the like? Somebody is in the building on the 50th floor or on the 20th floor, and something has happened. They've fallen. They've had some heart issue or stroke or the like, and they need to get down and get out of the building and get in the ambulance and be conveyed to the hospital. How is that playing now? I'm sure it won't be difficult to figure it out, because there are many buildings that are not only 50 stories but 100 stories and beyond. So it isn't something that we need to reinvent. But to the fellow's point, have we considered these things? And then the other issue. So you've got a building that is now 10 stories, dwarfing a house that is maybe 1 story or 2 stories or 4 stories or what have you. Does it block light and visibility? Now that 10-story building now is right next to a 50-story building. Is that being overshadowed literally by the 50-story building? Little things that may not be significant, but they may be. Hey, 949-8037 or 1-800-534-8255. Then the fellow's comment yesterday. Yeah, he says he's involved in a particular group. I'm somewhat familiar with the group. It's one of those sort of offerings where people, because of their experience and expertise, make themselves available to young people, not just high school students, but recent college grads. Sort of a mentoring like thing, not one of those formalized programs, but there are still, thankfully, people in our communities who get together and say, listen, let me help you navigate your path in life. Some because they realize that their parents aren't available, aren't as attentive. In some cases, don't possess the resources. The child wants to pursue a particular avenue and the parent is lost. And I think that's not being disparaging. Many of us would understand. The child seems to be good at music or at sport or at math or at something else, and the parent is like, I have no idea, even how to understand what this child is saying. So good that you can come and help. That person may be a teacher. The person may be a practicing professional. So it's good when we have people and we talk about mentoring. So this fellow says, as he is, talking to these young people, he's realizing a couple of things. One, some of them are concerned that they don't see any meaningful employment, career, or economic or any kind of opportunity for them in Cayman down the road. If they go off to university, they get training and experience. When they come back here, what are they going to do? And then the other point is, well, some of these same people are saying, well, why bother to go? I mean, yeah, I can get in. I probably can find a scholarship here. I can, make the grade, but not only is it an expense without any reward, so what's the point? Now, difficult, but worse, he says. Some of them have decided, I may as well just stay here and mash up the place. Now, a very, very difficult thing to hear young people say, but it feels like there isn't anything for them. So you want to say they become despondent, they feel a sense of despair, they feel disillusioned, they're angry and agitated, and they say, you know what, you can't get on this because I can't get on this, let's mash it up. Now, not something that we should be encouraging, not something that we should take lightly and ignore, and that is perhaps what he has shared. Are we cognizant that this may be the sentiment, not just amongst young people who are under 20, but maybe young people who are, over 30? What are they feeling? And have we any solutions? So, when we come back from the break, would you weigh in and find out whether this government station can be an avenue for you? If you want to criticize the government and the politicians and everybody else, great. If you want to add up some solutions, even better. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
I love you.
Get your Valentine's roses from Rosie's Roses and receive 10% off fresh flowers ordered by February 13th and be entered to win a $100 gift certificate for Mother's Day bouquets. Order online at rosiesroses.ky. Call 922-5273 or visit Rosie's Roses, Rankin Plaza, Eastern Avenue.
Love is in the air everywhere you look around at the Advanced Automotive Showroom this Valentine's Day. Fall in love all over again with one of our brand new 2019 Chevrolets. Take home the stunning Trax Midnight compact SUV or let your heart skip a beat while driving the beautiful Equinox. Test drive the stylish Traverse and let Advanced Automotive play matchmaker this Valentine's Day. Visit the showroom on Owen Roberts Drive or visit advancedchevrolet.com to fall in love all over again.
From happy beginnings to happy ever after.
Brit K protects your lifestyle with the best insurance cover at the best possible price.
Health insurance with far-reaching benefits.
95% of claims settled in 5 days.
Low-cost life insurance.
And investments.
Security in retirement.
With a custodian pension plan.
For happy beginnings and a happy ever after.
Visit BritK.ky or call 949-8699.
BritK, where people come first.
Thinking of doing more to show your sweetheart you really care? Explore new roads together with the 2019 RAV4, Vamped Motors' #1 selling SUV. Save $2,000 off all 2019 RAV4s loaded with features you both will fall in love with, like maximum comfort and cargo space inside, eco mode for low fuel consumption, an audio system with USB and Bluetooth connectivity, vehicle stability and traction control to help you navigate wet roads, and advanced safety features to keep you and your loved ones safe. Do more for your sweetheart and save $2,000 now on the all-new 2019 RAV4 from Vamped Motors, Walkers Road.
Hello, I'm Joseph Woods, the Acting Port Director. Our port facility is the hub of the Cayman Islands commerce and economic activity, handling $658 million in imported goods annually. From groceries to construction materials, all sectors of our economy depend on the port. But it is now 40 years old. Its infrastructure is degrading, and we feel the strain from insufficient space for both cargo and cruise operations. The time is now. A new expanded port facility is needed to allow both cargo and cruise to operate efficiently and to support our island's continued growth and development. Support the port, support our tourism, support Cayman's continued growth and development.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255. Likewise, you want to send us your thoughts on our WhatsApp, 925-3261. Either way, get a chance to be a part of Open Line segment. Have you share with us as you so choose, and recognize that perhaps it isn't what other people do, and it may not even necessarily be what you do. It may be what you don't do that is so important and meaningful. The fact that you are sitting idle by and seeing something that needs to be addressed, and you say, well, somebody else will do it, or you don't want to get involved. Because many of us do that, understandably so, as they share. You get kicked in the teeth too many times, and you say, well, you know what, it doesn't make sense. But if you stop trying, if you stop contributing, if you stop offering up yourself to make it better, then think about it. Everybody else doing the same thing. Nothing gets done, and there's always a problem. With this perspective, as we were sharing this prior to the break, be interested to hear what you have to say in relation to the gentleman's sentiments yesterday when he was saying that he's concerned that a lot of the young people are thinking whether or not they should even pursue tertiary education, or whether that's in a very academic and professional capacity, whether they're getting something that I like the way he says it, because I believe it's true. People who have technical skills, the mechanics, the plumbers, the electricians, the carpenters, the people who really are, to me, very knowledgeable. No, yes, our physicians are important. Even some would say lawyers. My friends and family who are lawyers, they would say, boy, you're picking on us again. But, the fact that a very, very skilled mechanic, whether he's going to service your boat engine or your car, the electrician or the plumber, those are skill sets that are invaluable. And we need to encourage our young people, our boys and our girls, who have that interests, who seem to have that ability for us, to say to them, not only can you make a very, very handsome living, but you're doing a job that is very, very important. And hopefully that's changing. And I would ask that when we encourage them into this, that we don't label, and more importantly, we don't preclude them from getting that piece of paper, that certification, that thing that when they possess it, not only can they work here, but they can travel elsewhere. That not only can they, and I say this not to hopefully be disparaging to those who hear, but let's say the electrician who takes wires and twists them together and connects up the circuit, that they know how to do more than that. Because sadly, I've had a few young people who have shared that when they expressed an interest, they seem to have been only, allowed almost to learn up to this stage and not beyond. They wanted to know more. They wanted to know how to build the circuit boards and how to terminate it in different places and how to do different things. So are we prepared to teach and to train and to ensure that they get those requisite skill sets and that they understand the math and the physics that go behind the generation of electricity and how that they're going to do this thing and not just pull wires and make sure that when you hit the light switch it comes on without a spark and causes a fire? Well, maybe. Hey, 949-8837, 1-800-534-8255. Now, the fellow's comment this morning when he was saying, about the need to look at our development and the idea that as we look at the future, who's driving that? Who are responding to the surveys, whether it's by the planning department or the Ministry of Planning, or whether it's something that the government decides to undertake as part of a national development plan, economic, social, and otherwise. Or perhaps it's some survey being done by a private sector entity that is looking to either enter the marketplace or wants to expand its foothold. And likewise, will we be prepared to give honest, constructive feedback, and perhaps more importantly, when that information is collated and people look at it, that they're not going to be looking to see whether George or Peter or Mary or whoever else responded and how they responded, but they're going to be only concerned in the responses that they get and how does that, when tabulated, create some sort of formula for a healthy, vibrant, dynamic, sustainable economy, one that still maintains a semblance of social harmony. Now, is that what we're trying for? I would say yes. Is that because I'm overly positive? Maybe. Well, let's hear from you. 949-8837, 949-8037, or 1-800-534-8255. You can WhatsApp 925-3261 as well if you want to share your thoughts with us and let us hear where it is that you feel we're running with this. 949-8037. Now, yesterday, listener had sent through a WhatsApp that was lamenting about the need for the government in particular to ensure that it hires as many Caymanians as possible, and that when it's hiring staff that it doesn't contribute to potentially that growing perception that we're devaluing the price of labor, so we're pushing wages down, that we're perhaps lowering the standard of living and the quality of life, that perhaps when we employ people in certain positions, not only the frontline positions, but positions that potentially, could be seen as, security issues, that we are giving preference to Caymanians. Now, a fellow heard us read that comment. I hopefully didn't read it incorrectly, but he did share. Let's ensure that those people who are in those positions have the requisite skill sets. I don't believe the fellow was implying that it it should be otherwise. But to that point, someone had asked the guy when he was saying that, I said, well, are we saying that all those people that we have hired as frontline staff or as security personnel, all the other areas, whether it's at the airport or the port or the government buildings or wherever, that they're all possess that level of skill set? Let's go to our phones. Hey, good afternoon and welcome. You're on Talk Today.
Good afternoon again, Brother Sterling.
Good afternoon again, sir. How are you today?
Oh, great as usual.
I'm glad to hear that, man. Thank God.
Hey, living in faith,
Well, I think there's worse things,
The worst are the best thing.
Well, yeah.
I mentioned to Miss Ozzy this morning that, most of the time, when we call him, everything is based on the Bible. Not as the Bible, but directly the words of Jesus himself. And educate sleeping prophet. So if anybody want to call in the student thing I say, you better be checking the Bible or somewhere first. I think I told you some time ago about the days of Noah. I did? I can't how the days of Noah spoken of by Jesus is taking place right now. Right? Did I mention that before?
You did, yeah.
Well, okay. The enemy, comes right down. It's a new form of government coming in the world today. And the best example is the one chosen by Cuba and America, right? Which directly affects the Cayman Islands. Now, as I said this morning, Cuba has a government similar to the disciples had in the early church, where everyone brought in their stuff to the disciples and they gave to everyone that had need. Now, that is the basic foundation of the Cuban government. And I would challenge any newspaper reader to publish how elections are done in Cuba, which is a more democratic way than almost any other country in the world.
How do you come about that?
Okay. Every street in Cuba has someone in charge of that street. Now, when you have, I'll just use a rough example there, right? You have 100 streets. They elect one person to represent those 100 streets. And when you have 100 of those representatives, they choose one to go up to higher level. It goes right up to that until it reaches the top, the National Assembly. So if something happens in the National Assembly, they can easily pass it down to the leaders of the group, to the leaders of every street. So it goes right down to the will of the people themselves. And I saw an example when I was in Cuba one time. The police, some people selling them stuff on the sidewalk, and the police came and picked up 2 or 3 of them. And before the police could drive, before they got them in the car, the people in that area had it surrounded. A couple of the police cars came, but all the representatives of the streets and those of that area, they had court right there and show a lot of documents these people had to sell, and the police had to let them go. Now, that is a voice of the people.
Well, let me ask you, and I want to try that so I can understand. In the Cuban context, as you described, is it then that a person, let's use the Cayman example, I think might be a little familiar or more familiar to me. In the Cayman example, even though we have these 19 little, garrisons almost to some people's mind, somebody in that area decides, I want to contest the seat. That person steps up, gets 2 others to nominate that person, and they pay the $1,000 and they move forward, and they offer themselves as a candidate. In the Cuban context, is that how it would work, or do they have to be sanctioned by the party and the list is approved? How does it work when you say there's a democracy?
The people in that street elect somebody they have confidence in, totally, right?
Right, but is elected because the person has come out independently, or is the person sanctioned and approved by the party?
No, not the party. That put forward by the people. And any Cuban listener can call in and verify what they say. They are put forward by the people.
Right.
Right? Mm-hmm. And then when those other groups get together, let's say 100 of them, they select the best one of them to go on to represent that group of 100.
So I want to ask, and this is not meant to offend, but you know what? Sometimes we say things we need to be kind of willing to defend and to challenge it, right? How does that, relate to Cayman? Why is that important to us?
No, I'm just showing you how a new system of electing the leaders of a country.
With that system, then, if maybe the Cuban example would be great. Not saying it isn't, right? But if you look at a new system, are we willing to cast the net and go not just geographically wide, but as politically wide as possible? So we look at maybe what they do in Switzerland or Germany. Maybe we look at what they do in Canada. Maybe we say what some have said here. You know what? Let's reduce the number from 19 to 9, all right? And let's have everybody vote for everybody, or maybe we don't have in elections. I don't know. What do you think?
No, but if in each area, right? In the area, like now, they put forward people, and then they're elected to that group, right? And then in 19, they elect who they want for the government then. It's pretty similar, right? But we are a small country. I'm not saying what in Cuba is perfect, but it's still in the growing stages. Right.
Well, listen, thank you for sharing it. Only because I'm trying to make sure I hear you and hear the break. Let's pause, though. We got a break coming up. Let's pause. When you come back, who else wants to chime in? I mean, you may have something that is earth-shattering. You just may have something that you need to share. We want to hear. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Whether you're planning your child's next birthday party or simply looking for a social night out, look no further than Kingpin Bowling at King Sports Center.
With a range of packages and specials for bowling parties, socials, and corporate team building, Kingpin Bowling offers what no one else can. The only bowling alley in Cayman. And it's indoor fun, which means no mosquitoes, AC, and don't forget about their bowling bar. Book your bowling lanes today. Call 946-BOWL. That's 946-2495. Email kingpinbowling@candw.ky. For more information, visit their website, www.kingsportscenter.com.
King Sports Center, providing your fitness, recreation, and relaxation needs.
At Seaboard Marine, customers often ask us questions about their shipments.
Hi, I'm thinking of buying a car from the States. Which port do you ship out of?
Hi, we ship out of Miami, Houston, and Brooklyn. Just let us know your port of choice and we can provide you with a quotation and answer any questions you may have on ensuring and protecting your vehicle during its journey.
Shipping shore to shore, Seaboard.
Monday through Friday, 3 to 6 p.m. Radio Cayman Super Jam Show, the #1 drive time entertainment show on your radio featuring Will Sinatra.
Enjoy a mix of pop, hip-hop, reggae, dancehall, Latin, soca, urban gospel, old school.
The Super Jam Show is fueled by the proud sponsorship of insurance agent Michael Webster from Cayman Insurance Center.
Don't take chances with your family's future.
Did you know that the Department of Environmental Health operates a recycling program in the Cayman Islands? Recyclables such as number 1 and 2 plastics, tin and aluminum cans, cardboard, as well as glass and ceramic items are recycled on Grand Cayman by the DEH. Take these items to the recycling depots located at all Foster's supermarkets, Kirk Market, and Hurley's Grand Harbor. Remember, keep the Cayman Islands clean. Reduce, reuse, and recycle. For more information about recycling, please visit DEH website at www.deh.gov.ky.
Get your car washed with Diamond Auto Care. $20 car wash special. $30 for SUVs, interior and exterior. Call 928-7336. Diamond Auto Care will leave your car with a sparkle and shine. Only $20. Call 928-7336.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back to Talk Today. It is open line 949-8037. 949-8037. If you want to call and share your thoughts with us, likewise, you can call us on our toll-free number at 1-800-534-TALK, 1-800-534-8037. 8255. And then you can WhatsApp 925-3261. Of course, you just want to call and say hello to Susan. Well, those numbers give you that same thing too. You can do that. Later on, for the right price, I'll give you her direct number. Or she'll pay me more not to give you. We'll see. This is about negotiation, Got bills to pay. 949-837, 1-800-534-8255. Listen, hopefully you laugh at me for saying that. If you laugh with me, perfect. But it's a little jest, and hopefully not too inappropriate. I get a smile from Susan. It makes the day even better. Right, Miss Susan? There she says, woohoo. She says she should call her brothers and they'll make sure I behave myself. 949-837, 1-800-534-8255. I was just, reflecting on the comments the gentleman had shared with us earlier, and it's great. We still live in a society where people go, and most part, we can speak, openly. Maybe less picture the scenario. You waiting in the lobby somewhere because you're part of the customer service expectation and experience, and they'll call next, and you're sitting there, you're chatting, you're listening, people are sharing and talking about their lives and the like, and it's still good to know that we're not all so caught up in their own lives, and we sit there and nobody's saying anything to anybody else. But also, it's not just about complaining and the like. So as the fellow was relaying, his stories and making the account he was sharing, Cayman is certainly a changed place from the time he was, young. And not all the change is bad. His concerns were the increasingly, we're not getting outside more, we're not socializing more, we're not doing the sort of things that we should be doing to make us a healthier society, not just physically, but socially. But he also says that it seems that too many of us are leaving it for the government to do, to pay our bills and look after us, leaving it for the government to do in other areas, right? Got some calls online, Miss Susan? No? 949-837, 1-800-534-8255. We also had, as we listened to him, the idea he was saying that, if the government embarks on something, we don't challenge them. We don't, take them to task, as he's shared. We don't cause them to want to have to explain nor justify what is it they're doing. He said he recalled an incident a long time ago. Said he was, at that time, in his mind, a grown man. That's how he saw himself. And his father out in the highland, tending to the ground, as it were, and someone making their way through. And his father asked him, well, what are you doing here? And then the fellow responded in a certain way. He said, hang on, I asked you, what are you doing here? This is my land, you're trespassing. And the guy said, well, and presumably it was a time when they were looking at surveying properties, and the fellow said, well, you are lost, but if you put a pig down here, that means that I'll have much less land. And he thought, people were willing to, where appropriate, stand their ground. So you fast forward to years later, he's outside, he's tending to his garden and the like, and someone was coming through his property, and he turned and realized, well, it looked like it could be someone in uniform, but wanted to ask, and the person turned to him in a very rude manner, without explanation, almost wanted to bowl him over. He thought, should that be allowed, that level of respect? And again, in our society, as I shared out, is that the issue that we are losing not just respect for each other, but as he said, losing sight of what our rights and responsibilities are, what is it that we should be doing to not only protect our person and our property, but to ensure that there is this accepted norm that you don't openly trespass on others' lands. He said, for instance, with this recent attempt to get rid of the iguanas, He says, great, whether it's a good way to do it, whether this is the best way, whether it's an efficient way, whether it's really, another way that we could do it much more cheaply. The fact is that there seems to be making some dent in the notion. But there are people coming into people's yards and taking the iguanas, and while they're there, they're helping themselves to the coconuts and the mangoes and the plums and the pears and whatever else. Is that really the way we should do it? I may share with you some of the thoughts he had, but let's go to our phones. Welcome, you're on Talk Today.
Yeah, good afternoon, Dwayne.
Afternoon, sir. How are you?
Not as good as you, but I'm good.
Well, thank God for people like you who pray for me that, wish me the very blessed of blessings. So thank you.
Well, I am very blessed, my friend, and I thank God every day. And I don't ask for much. I just ask Him to give me what I need on this earth, and if He does that, I'm happy.
You meant that.
Okay?
Yes, sir.
I'm not, I'm not greedy. But what I want to talk about this morning is, like, for the last 3 months or so, I live up in Buttree Hill, right? And I come down there. When I come from George, and I come down to Mr. Smith Road there, Boston Smith Road there. And, come around there and hit the Buttree Hill Road. But when you come down there, you get to Buttree Hill, that junction with Buttree Hill Road. There's a clear space on that side of it, Bushfield. I think the government owns it.
Right next to the stadium on the left-hand side?
Yeah, when you're coming down from Georgetown and you get to the guys there where they got the store there for, opposite that.
Okay.
Yeah. And I noticed that people, I don't know whether they don't have a camera there so they can catch these people, but they're not Caymanians, I can tell you that. Because I talk with them, but these people drop these old derelict cars there. Then they come back later, sometime during the night. I don't know what time to do it. But you'll see it's clear one day, next morning you get up and you go up there and you see these old cars and stuff. Then they drop them down there, and then they come and they take all the parts out and put them up on blocks and stuff like that. And then after they finish, they call the environmental department apparently, and I see some red tags on these cars and stuff, but nobody obviously isn't paying for it because apparently nobody knows who's doing it. And somebody doesn't know who's doing it, but nobody talks, and it looks so disgusting, Dwayne, because not one of our representatives, and I'm going to excuse McKeever here because McKeever is in the house and I'm sure he's pretty busy all the time. He got stuff to do. But the other three people, and I know Tara drives up now, and Eugene and Bernie, I don't know what they're doing, but I'm telling you that nobody cares about West Bay anymore. It's sit up and get your salary, and then you collect your salary, and then you go and do your own business, and that's what's happening in this island. We should have laws in place, first of all, that no politician, you see, oh Lord Jesus help us. I mean, this island is gone. The corruption, it is so corrupt.
So how do we address that? Sorry, I mean, I don't want to dismiss you because if we don't have integrity across our systems, right, structural integrity in our buildings, as you would know, but integrity in our people in our system. So what do we do if it's as you shared? How are we addressing the issue?
Have laws. We have to have laws that these people, ministers and stuff like that, they decide they're going to do something, and they go ahead. And of course, because it's the same parties in there that's in charge, they vote for each other, and so they get these things they want. And then later on, they come back that we cause. Let me give you an example. When they came, I remember when they proposed these high schools, the three high schools, the one in John Gray, the Clifton Hunter, and they one in West Bay, the Beulah Smith School up, right? And they had this big piece of land across from the Bushfield. When they started, everybody went. And I remember when the first time I heard about it, somebody said it was going to cost $50 million a piece. Now, not to, elevate myself in any way here, but I designed schools in the United States of America. One of the best schools that were ever is in Dallas, Texas, in Highland Park. $24 million for high school. Okay, $24 million. That was in 1986. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now, you got everything in them schools. It's just like when Dart built his schools up there, those places are top of the line thing, and they cost like $24 million when they did their first thing. Now, what I'm saying is this. We give people, the politicians, make sure that some of their close friends or whoever it is gets the contract. And then, like you see the airport now, I remember I read something in the paper the other day where McAlpine had changed their costing about 3 or 4 times. Now, generally, when you let a contract out there, one should say, okay, do your homework, tell me what you want, and if you expect any inflationary cost to come up, just add that to the thing. But don't, after you've signed the contract, come back and tell me it cost more to do this. And let me tell you,
mm-hmm.
Oh, Lord Jesus, when I tell you that some of they did high school, and I said, at that time, oh my God, what is this going to cost $15 million? I then took it upon myself to go into planning to look at the drawings. Okay?
Right. Now, if you wish to join us, I certainly want to hear more from you, but respectfully, got a news to take. If you think I'm in charge, what do you say? Think again. All right. If you want to stay on, we can catch you after the break. If not, you can call back. Please join us after the news.
From district to district, moving through the waters to Cayman Brac and Little Cayman. Your station, your voice. All things Cayman. One radio, many people. This is home.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman. Radio Cayman's newsroom. These are the biggest stories right now.
A corruption trial is halted after an 82-year-old Spanish interpreter has a heart attack during the trial. Witnesses tell Radio Cayman shortly after one of the defendants took to the stand, the man expressed he was feeling unwell. He asked for water, and when it was given to him, his hands began shaking. Soon after, he collapsed and became unresponsive. The man was taken to the Cayman Islands Hospital and is thought to be in a stable condition. Good afternoon, I'm Dion Anglin with your headlines and news elsewhere. The Met Office says the world is in the middle of what is likely to be the warmest 10 years since records began in 1850. It's forecasting that temperatures for each of the next 5 years are likely to be at or above 1 Celsius compared to pre-industrial levels. There's also a small chance that one of the next 5 years will see global temperatures temporarily go above 1.5 Celsius. That's seen as a critical threshold for climate change. Virginia Attorney General Mark Herring has admitted to wearing brown makeup to a 1980 party days after the state governor admitted wearing blackface. The second in line to the governor's seat said in a statement today that he wore a costume to a party when he was 19 years old at a university. Democratic Governor Ralph Northam is facing calls to resign over a racist photo and admission of blackface usage. The lieutenant governor is also under scrutiny for sex assault allegations. And a British woman has been jailed in Indonesia for slapping an immigration official at Negoro Rai International Airport in Bali. The 42-year-old woman shouted and swore at the man who challenged her when he realized her visa was overdue. She was found guilty of violence against an officer after she slapped him across the face and tried to grab her passport from him. She now faces 6 months in jail and has claimed that the sentence is unfair. That's a wrap of your headlines. I'm Dion Anglin.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
What's happening in your community? News and information, music and more. You can find us. www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Radio Cayman is your choice, your voice for today's biggest news. Radio Cayman.
Get your car washed with Diamond Auto Care. $20 car wash special. $30 for SUVs. Interior and exterior. Call 928-7336. Diamond Auto Care will leave your car with a sparkle and shine. Only $20. Call 928-7336.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back to Talk Today. 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255. If you want to share your thoughts on our WhatsApp, 925-3261. Appreciate the gentleman, not only staying on the line, but equally respectful, allowing us to just interject and go to the news. Hey, thanks for holding on, sir.
Yeah, man.
I really appreciate it. And as you shared, though, you're not inflating yourself. You're only speaking to your experience now.
Yeah. No. That's what I'm saying. The thing is, I love this country. I love this island.
Mm-hmm.
And when I see the stuff that's happening here, and if you can't use any other word except corruption, that's the word I use because that's the correct word for it.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you this. When I looked at the drawings back in early 1990s or something,
mm-hmm.
or late 80s, whatever it was. And I saw $50 million for high school. I read into the thing and looked at the drawings and I said, Jesus, that's nothing here. What is costing this thing? And I discovered that when I looked at the drawings, whoever had done it, I don't know who did the drawing, that they had 6 buildings, I think it was 6 buildings, and no covered walkways or anything between those buildings. So if a teacher needed to go from one building to the other, for whatever reason, and they had inclement weather, if it was raining or something like that, they either couldn't go or they were going to get wet.
Right. Now,
And
these the same drawings that show the building with very mass expansive glass on the west side of the building?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what,
I saw those. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, although I remember now, the architect, somebody up in Chicago,
mm-hmm.
that's why they had all this glass on the west end, because you see up there it's cold. So they try to get, in the wintertime, they try to get the sun coming through. They have to warm up the place.
Mm-hmm.
And they, oh my God. And anyway, when I looked at it, I said to myself, no, something wrong here. I looked around, checked the drawings up, briefly just looking over them. And I said, when I took the square footage of the buildings, and the $50 million cost, I think it was something like close to $300 a square foot, or maybe even a little over that per square foot. And I'm thinking, something's wrong here. Okay? I told one of the politicians, CG, I think it was, that CG did bring it up in the House about these buildings without any connection between them. There's preachers or somebody want to go from one place to the other. The weather was wrong, was bad. They would get bad and all that kind of thing. Anyway, the end. This what I want to get to now, right now.
Mm-hmm.
When it started John Gray High School up there, it never finished. It sat there out in the open for I don't know how many years. It's got to be about 5, 6, 7, 8 years now. That they never done anything with it. It just sat there and all the steel was rusting, and it grown up. And I went a couple of times, and I was just almost cried when I see it. And then Beulah Smith, they put a bunch of marl or something in there. And, I don't want to get into all the details about who did what in that. But that marl is still there, sitting on top. It's all grown over now with weeds and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And if the Hunter site was cleared out, but they hadn't done anything. When Rawson Hyman was Minister for Education, and they got in, they decided they were going to do this Clifton Hunter School, which I agree with, because that was needed more than any of the other two. They went up there, they started doing this thing, and they can change it now, and because there were so many things that they hadn't they thought that they should have done. And I tried to help them, and I told them, that first of all, I don't think you need that many buildings. Maybe it'd be that just go redesign it, and you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, it went when they finished the Clifton High School. It went from the $50 million, which was estimated at first, up to $110 million.
So it's changing one administration to another administration, one political group into another. Right?
Yeah, but Well, I think when the thing started, I think it was the PPM that had it, and then the UDP got in. And
right.
And what I'm saying is this: nobody that I talk to can explain to me how you can double plus. It went over budget $60 million. From 50 to 110.
But I think the Auditor General at that point had said that the expenditure to date was 40 million at the end of one administration, and then when the other came in, and you said UDP, then it went from that to 100 plus, or maybe tripling, perhaps.
Yeah, it doubled. It definitely doubled it because I'm talking about the 50 original cost because they were all going to be $50 million. As my memory serves me right.
I think when I saw the planning application, I think it was either 30 or 40 million per school. You said 50, so I'll go with you, but I thought it was 30 or 40 that I saw. When you write down on it how much this cost, the value, whatever. You there?
These kind of things will happen as long as, because everybody has responsibility, but there's no accountability.
So,
when people are in charge of that kind of money, they must have some accountability. You see, but they can go in there, and then when they after they leave, we are stuck with the bill, and nobody pays the piper.
So with that, then, right? To wrap it up, though, the accountability is lacking. You seem to be, better legislation or enforcement of legislation. But what do we then, as a populace, do to ensure that it doesn't happen again? That whatever happens, that it's addressed.
Okay, I'll give you my scenario that I've got off to.
Yeah, sir.
The thing is, what we need, Dwayne, no politician should have control over finances in that sense that they can say we're going to build it and this is what we want. They go and get. Because they're being backed up by their friends in the legislative assembly.
So who should have control then?
They should have, like it used to be, and I keep saying this all the time, a body that is financial group or whatever it is that we need or something. But then these guys decide to do this. Somebody else can say to them, look, we don't have the money. We're not going to get. We have a limit on the amount of debt we can accumulate, because you see that's what they do.
Okay, so let me ask then, right? Some would probably agree with you. Don't put it in the hands of the politician because of some of the things that you shared and otherwise. But they would say, well, if you put it in the hands of a body, now I don't think that the Central Tenants Committee exists anymore. So let's just use that as an example. But whatever this body is called, are we saying that this body that serves as oversight, that it can't, you still can't find collusion amongst the members of this body to make sure that the contract is awarded to this particular group versus that group, that maybe the price is inflated so that, a little bit is handed around the table? I mean, will this...
This is the point I'm going to make. That body should be made up of people, let's say, from whatever the ruling party is, whatever the thing is, and have every equal side, and then you have one independent who can, make a decision on the thing. And I think the fact is that unless we have, remember when Mr. Wattell was in charge, we go to the House, he would tell us, these people up there, if we wanted, and I keep repeating this, they wanted you to do this, they wanted to do this, build a school or build a road or do something. Mr. Wattell always kept a reserve in our accounts. And he'd say to them, this is what we have, we can spend now because we don't want to touch that reserve there. Then they would say, get among themselves, and these guys talked and they reasoned among themselves, and they would say, okay, well, really, I don't need it that badly in Barton Town or East or West Bay or whatever it is. I think you should have it. You go ahead and do it next time I get married. That's how they used to do it.
Okay.
Now we have these projections, and this year especially, I never heard so many projections about how much money we're going to make from tourism. let me tell you, my friend, when this thing hits us, and remember, you got to watch the world economy right now. There's stuff going on. We better be careful. We don't go and get no debt.
Yeah. Well, you've called it, man. Hey, thanks for sharing with us, sir.
All right.
All right.
My friend, you take care.
You too. And I really enjoy you sharing. Hopefully people, when something is said, we don't always beat up the messenger. Let's try to heed the message, but sometimes we challenge the commenter as well. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Hi, I'm Colin Lumsden, the Georgetown manager and head of the Revitalization Initiative. Our capital city is the heart of business activities in the Cayman Islands, and we would like to bring it back as a center of social activities, with street-side cafes, green spaces, improved roads, and proper walkways for interconnectivity. The new cruise and cargo port is part of the plan, and will allow for operators to meet passengers dockside with less lines and overcrowding. Cargo operations will be less intrusive. There will be pedestrianized areas for people to safely walk, shop, and dine. Modernizing the cruise and cargo port is a key element in the efforts to revitalizing our capital city.
A caring and community spirit, cherished family and cultural values. These are some of the things that still embodies the Caymanian way of life in the Eastern Districts today. Savannah Pharmacy, your neighborhood pharmacy, located in Countryside Shopping Village, is delighted to offer products and services of real value. Whether it's catering to your family's medical needs or carrying apparel, gifts, and beauty products, Savannah Pharmacy provides you with more than just prescriptions. Remember, they're always just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
At KFC, we believe you don't have to share a last name to be a family. Whether it's an office party, holiday fete, or family gathering, enjoy KFC's fresh hand-breaded finger-licking good chicken. The KFC Festive Feast includes 10 pieces of original recipe or spicy chicken, creamy mashed potatoes, tasty coleslaw, and warm biscuits. KFC's holiday catering menu includes buckets of hot wings, sweet chili wings, or chicken tenders. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Crifta Games 2019 is coming to Cayman April 20th through 22nd. The Crifta Organizing Committee will be holding a volunteer drive on Thursday, February 7th at the CIFEC Hall from 5 until 7 p.m. Learn about these iconic games and the various areas that you can serve as a volunteer and ambassador. Positions range from ushers to translators, liaison officers, and many more. For more information, visit CaymanCrifta2019.ky.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back to Talk Today. 949-8037 or a toll-free call at 1-800-534-8255. It's open line. Let's go to our phones. Welcome. You're on Talk Today.
Good afternoon, Dwayne. Good afternoon to Susan, all our listeners.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, sir. I would like to announce the great honors and salutes that were given to two great ladies, the wives of two seamen that had passed away in recent times. That is the wife of Mr. Andrew Eden and the wife of Mr. Denniston Tibbet. I had an incredible, remarkable salute in honor of those two great ladies done at 12:30 today with a tanker passing by a half a mile off Cayman Brack and sounding its horn 25 times, five times in a series of 5 long blows. It was dozens of people, probably maybe 15, 20 people got photos of it. Some say they will post it up on Facebook so that people can see it. And I was in the presence of all the students from the Spot Bay School with the teachers there on the grounds of the school watching the big tanker passing by. You could actually read the name visually. It was passing by a half a mile off, and it was more than 1,000 feet deep water where it was passing by. So all clear of depth and very deep water off Cayman Brack, and that was quite an incredible gesture. That
I can imagine.
Today.
Yes, sir.
One of these times, if you're up here, you never got to see it, but I mean, the people in Grand Cayman that doesn't be here in Cayman Brac to really see these things. It's incredible to stand on the coastline and watch the ships come in and parallel with the island, and then when the request is given by the captains to sound 5 long blows or 10 long blows for the seamen and their wives. Queen's birthday and all of this, I had work doing, and I had a delay in work by getting equipment delivered to a site, so I took some time out and come to deal with that, and that's what I had done this morning.
Excellent, man. Excellent. And that's showing respect, for the seafarers and their wives. Thank you for that. That is not just commendable, but it's an honorable thing to do. And it's very appreciative. Mr. Raymond, boy, you still got good people who show, their love and kindness towards others. Anything else, sir?
Yes, about the economy. Of course, people have been hearing on the radio about the 10 buildings that are going to be built in Cayman Brac. That's 8 affordable homes and a big building to the north of the district administration for customs, immigration, etc. That space are needed. 3,600 square foot addition onto the hospital, Faith Hospital in Cayman Brac for physiotherapy and other needs, other requirements, and also some change in rooms and restroom facilities at the new swimming pool. The new swimming pool is just about completed. It has water in it, and it has the buoy-type lines across. It's really a beautiful pool, and that's greatly appreciated. We have some very nice facilities here in the Brac with the nice football field and all of that, where people can come over from Grand Cayman and other places to play. And that's what they're hoping for, to attract international athletic games here in the Brac with the football field, soccer field, and also with the large swimming pool that we now have, where teams can come from abroad and do swimming.
Well, excellent, man, and I'm glad that you were able to continue to update us. So thank you very much, Mr. Raymond. And with that, we'll go to the other line. Hey, good afternoon. Welcome. You're on Talk Today.
Good afternoon, Sterling. How are you?
Oh, blessed. How about yourself?
Okay, I'm blessed, but I need to run a few things by you.
All right.
I sit down and I keep wondering, why aren't Caymanians the HR for every place in this island that is hiring people? You go for a job, you have every expat that is in HR position. Can you tell me why Caymanians can't fill that post? This is a Caribbean country. This is Grand Cayman. We need our own true-born Caymanians. You go in for a job, the first thing you have some other nationality doing HR. Can you tell me why this thing can't be filled by Caymanians? It is so hurting to see you have to speak to someone else in your own country to be an HR person when you're looking for a job. The first thing they tell you, there's no vacancy. Next thing you know, they have their own nationality in the post that you're applying for. Something has to be changed. It has been going on too long. And another thing, in the tourism industry, I think we need nothing but true-born Caymanians, because when you come in and ask them questions, they don't even know what the capital of Grand Cayman is. And they don't even know how many districts, what they need to do when they're giving them tests. Give them a general knowledge quiz and let them see and hear about this island, because half of them don't know how many districts we have. They don't even know east from west, north from south. And I think it's ridiculous what is happening to this little island. And I think it needs to stop. I don't know who is doing it, but definitely it all needs to stop. It's so much of this going on. And Caymanians are out there hurting. They're hurting very much. And it's not that they're trying. All you can hear, label them, they're lazy people. You know what? We were very lazy, but we all gave them a chance to come in here and take the piece of pie. So I am going to start, and I hope other ones will call in and back me up. Thank you. Have a good evening.
All right. Thank you very much. And certainly, as she has shared, what is your thought? You want to call in and back her up? You want to call in and maybe add or perhaps somehow clarify? Hey, go right ahead, 949-8037. Or you can call us on our toll-free line at 1-800-534-8255. Now to the latest comments. A couple of things, and I'm still, considering what the gentleman shared earlier about this government radio station. And I won't try to be offensive in saying it. Depends on how you take it, but he also was weighing in on the same notion. So as she calls, and she's saying that Caymanians should be in these positions as the HR managers, the ones that do the hiring and the like. She shared, in the tourism sector, the hospitality sector, why are there not more Caymanians? Well, let me share with you what a fellow shared earlier. He said, take for instance, the size of our population. And every time that we talk about the need for more work permits, well, there probably is. There isn't enough people here now. And as we grow the economy, as we have the need for more people to fill the new jobs that come available, that's going to mean that we're going to have more people come in because you don't have enough people now to fill what you have and you're bringing in more. That question of ever more. He also said that if we look at the population increase, that increase in population is going to demand and will need more services, more roads, schools, healthcare, more infrastructure. It's going to need more. And that may mean that you start to push it further and further. And let's say, well, let's get more people again because of the need to fill this increased needs of the population. And it just gets to a point. Now, he also questioned the idea that when, as the lady was sharing, are Caymanians really, their worst enemies? Will Caymanians hire other Caymanians? Will Caymanians show favor to other Caymanians like we allege that other nationalities show to their own? So a Caymanian gets an appointment or something. Will there be a congratulations to that person posted online or a phone call or something public? Or will it be that somebody says, what he got at? Or what they gave it to him for? Why, do we compliment and celebrate the successes of our own? Or do we cry them down and somehow try to shame and ridicule and, if I can use the word, show some semblance of begrudge towards that success of that Caymanian? Well, likewise, when that Caymanian gets that position, that promotion and the like, is it, as people say, well, they seem to forget where they come from. They don't reach down and help others. Now, we say the other nationalities stick together. They help each other to get somewhere, whether it's in the construction of their home, whether it's to somehow negotiate, the buying of property, whether it's in training, whether it's in a promotion at the workplace. Are we doing the same thing? Not because, solely that the person is Caymanian, but because the person is Caymanian, we're willing to work alongside and ensure that they get an opportunity, get the requisite skill, and hopefully over time, the experience, and then be able to demonstrate that competence and eventually take the helm. Now, if that is not happening, who are we blaming? And if it's not ourselves, should we be blaming others? 8949-8037, or it's a toll-free call at 1-800-534-8255, and you can WhatsApp 925-3261. It's Wednesdays. We usually have people from the government, whether the elected government individuals or whether it's some members from the various departments. But life gets busy, and sometimes that doesn't always materialize. So it gives us a good chance to hear directly from you and have some open line, and you can share your thoughts with us. Take us to task. Maybe challenge what is being said. Maybe, share that, hey, this is good. This is the best thing since sliced bread. But either way, we want to hear what you have to say. We'll take a break, and when we come back, we want to invite you to be a part of a discussion and call us 949-8037, 949-8037, or toll free at 1-800-534-8255. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Go Cocoa Nuts with Cocoa Fest at Pedro Castle. On February 9th from 12 to 6 p.m., indulge in all kind of coconut ting. There's coconut-inspired cooked food, treats, fresh coconut water, crafts, games, music, and watch our coconut plant demonstrations. Admission is only $5 and free for kids under 12. Proceeds from each entry fee benefit Meals on Wheels Cayman. So if you like coconut, come to Cocoa Fest. Pedro Castle, February 9th. For event details, check us out on Facebook. This event is brought to you by Fidelity Bank. We're good for you.
At Flow, we know that 4 are better than 1. Introducing Flow Quad Play. Packed with the fastest, most reliable broadband, the power and control of Flow Evo TV, Cayman's best mobile experience, and tons of home phone minutes, all in one convenient package from only $199 a month. With 4 plans to choose from, you're sure to find one that fits your needs. It's value, ease, and convenience all on one bill with Cayman's #1 network. Find out why 4 are better than 1 with Flow Quad Play at discoverflow.ky. Terms and conditions apply.
Okay, the boards are up, and now it's time to highlight the new Proud of Them honorees.
We see Tax Billboard up in Frankstown, but we're not talking to him this week.
This week we will be having Grace Shell Bent and Sharon Williams share their story. You are going to be proud of them too.
Our featured artist of this week is our homegrown global performer, Josh Pearl.
I don't know much, but I know a secret. You ain't work hard, you ain't eating. Simple. I just call it how I see it. I've been working all week, now I'm tweaking for the weekend. Yeah, I don't know her, but she know me, so I play cool like an OG. It's right here, I make them sick to this stomach. If I want your girl, like a press one button. All they take for this money. If I get a 50, I just flip it to 100. Flip it to 100.
You can join us this Wednesday from 4 to 5 p.m. right here on Radio Cayman 89.9 FM for Youth Flex, a program for all people by young people. Youth Flex, more than talk.
Can you imagine where Cayman runs off renewable energy? We can. Learn how you can join government and be an energy advocate.
Visit the Ministry of Commerce, Planning and Infrastructure's Facebook page to learn more.
Crifta Games 2019 is coming to Cayman April 20th through 22nd. The Crifta Organizing Committee will be holding a volunteer drive on Thursday, February 7th at the CIFEC Hall from 5 until 7 p.m. Learn about these iconic games and the various areas that you can serve as a volunteer and ambassador. Positions range from ushers to translators, liaison officers, and many more. For more information, visit CaymanCrifta2019.ky.
I love you.
Get your Valentine's roses from Rosie's Roses and receive 10% off fresh flowers ordered by February 13 and be entered to win a $100 gift certificate for Mother's Day bouquets. Order online at rosiesroses.ky. Call 922-5273 or visit Rosie's Roses, Rankin Plaza, Eastern Avenue.
We are Radio Cayman, and this is how we wake you up in the morning. Praise time on Radio Cayman.
Sing your praise to the Lord. Come on, everybody, stand up and sing one more. Hallelujah, give your praise to the Lord. We are united in Jesus Christ. We are the soldiers of the Lamb.
Praise time.
Weekday mornings from 6 until 6:30.
There's a meeting up in heaven. Roll call. It's a name in the Lamb's book of life. Roll call, brother, sister. Roll call. If you don't stop shouting, if you don't stop dancing, we're going to put you out of our church.
Praise time.
Jesus in the morning, yeah.
Weekday mornings from 6 until 6:30.
Your song flow through my lips. Your work move through my hands. Your thoughts stay on my mind. Live in me.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back to Talk Today. It is open line 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255. As you heard, our ads on Saturday, Cocoa Fest, the Tourism Attractions Board, up at Pedro St. James. You have a chance to go up there and enjoy it from midday to about 6 p.m. Take the family out, see all things coconuts. Enjoy yourselves, man. And hopefully be a part of a nice, fun, festive, family-friendly day filled with a lot of food and some fellowship. It's open line though, 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255. And likewise, you can WhatsApp 925-3261. It's, as we look at this WhatsApp that's come through, and certainly invite you to share your thoughts with us in that vein as well. You can also email talktoday@candw.ky. Now, the caller prior was talking about a whole issue of cars being parked and seem to be picked to pieces. Wasn't the way he put it, much more, diplomatically and eloquently. And just wait for DH to come. Quick comment off air, fellow shares that we are seemingly just a throwaway society. We toss things along the roadways, and before you know, no wonder people are complaining that certainly is less than a third world country, and one of those places where we don't think we are, but because of the behaviors of so many of us, maybe it is. I must share though, and I'm grateful the folks over at DEH, Department of Environmental Health, call and ask them about something very professional, very responsive, and almost immediate. How do you go about doing this? How do you get a derelict vehicle removed, for instance? How do you address this particular issue if it falls under their ambit? To date, all of my interactions with them have been, stellar. They have really stepped up. I enjoy when over the years they've come on and shared it with us, whether it's their bulk waste cleanup that they have every year, or whether it's the other services that they provide, little tips on recycling. They've always been very responsive. I know, take a lot of heat sometimes. We even sometimes question certain things, but I'm reflecting on that particular sentiment as recall what the gentleman this morning was sharing when we were talking about government and the like. And is it, as the fellow prior who was calling, talking about the lack of accountability, the notion of needing legislation and enforcement of the laws, and the allegations of corruption and the like, is it that sometimes we're not quite sure who to point the fingers at? We are blaming all and sunder, and perhaps not necessarily cognizant of where the responsibility and accountability lies and where it is that we need to go in order to get things done. So the fellow this morning was sharing that if you take, for instance, the idea of the government radio stations being sort of propaganda machines like you see in so many other parts of the world, and I know that a few of you have not only shared it with me, but have accused me of saying, well, how come you don't say anything about it? And I thought, well, it's for you to say her. But given that the way the man publicly and very deliberately shared his view, he says, for instance, take the ongoing campaign by the government in relation to the port. He says nothing wrong with that if that's what they want to do. Maybe if it's a case that they're not spending public funds, or if they are, well, maybe that's suspect. But if they're not, okay, if it's a political issue, so be it. But he questions whether the use of Mr. Anglin and Mr. Woods would be appropriate when we talk about the importance and the necessity of putting in the whole port development and the cruise ship landing and what have you. Now, some may say, well, par for the course. Some may say, well, is that really undermining? Now, my questions and comments aren't necessarily indicative nor reflective of my personal sentiments, but if you ask of me and I'm unable to answer, simply because perhaps like many of you don't have sufficient information, the question is, how are we going about as a populace to get that information? Are we prepared? And this is the thing that, as I said to the gentleman earlier, he is sharing, and I think as he's lamenting, he is seemingly, very much taken by what he perceives as transpiring in our society. He almost resigned himself that, well, the government of the day will do what the government of the day wants done. And I thought, well, all you've shared really amounts to naught. And it wasn't meant to disrespect or to offend him. I think that may have been what transpired. But as I was sharing, if he is prepared to say, well, we need to hold the country accountable, like him, are we prepared to do so? To reach out to, and thankfully, many of the politicians, many of the people who are senior civil servants, many of the people who are on the boards, and even to some extent, some of the people in the private sector, we know who they are. They are our friends and family. We go to church or we attend other groupings and gatherings with them. Depending on what stage in life our children may attend the same schools or play in the same sports. We probably know, these people because they're somehow, very directly connected to us. Do we talk to them? Do we use that connection to try to influence, to encourage that we always make the best decisions, and the choices that we face with, we are prioritizing so that it is for the long-term, betterment of the country? Or is it, as the fellow this morning alluded, well, the government of the day will do what the government of the day wants done, and they're prepared sometimes to risk their political futures because this thing is that important to them, and despite whatever the reasons and allegations are as to why they'll do it. So it comes down to, as I said to him, well, whether it's the government radio station or not, the fact that if the people don't participate actively and openly in a democracy, whether it's through signing of petitions or calling for referendum, or whether it's through lobbying their politicians, that certain things are addressed, then who is at fault, and where is the health and strength of the democracy? 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255. Now, to the caller prior who was asking about the employment of Caymanians and why Caymanians aren't, the ones in the HR positions making those hiring decisions, or why Caymanians aren't in certain sectors front and center. Well, a comment came through suggesting that it's a simple, answer. There are not enough people to fill the available jobs, and those that are there, perhaps aren't given the level of training and skill sets that they need, and when they do, aren't given the requisite value and compensation. Took a quick comment during the break, and the fellow said that he's up for a promotion, and the promotion would mean a number of things. Certainly more responsibility, more pay, but great opportunity for more training, because with the job you get to travel, not just to conferences, but you get to see the operations in other offices and the like. Now, he shared that he understands that, this is just an example. Let's say he was being offered, $10 for the job, while the guy who's competing with him on a work permit is being offered, $15, for the job. And he thought they were not only going to pay him more, but the fact that, and this is only his perspective, he says, they're equally qualified and experienced. Why is it that he has to compete, for this promotion with someone who is going to be, not only on a work permit, but it's going to be requiring a variation of the work permit? Now, is that something that you think is, well, that should be how it is? The company wants the best person for the job. They have 2 employees on staff. One requires a work permit, one doesn't. And they decide who they want to give it to based on whatever criteria that they decide is important. Now, do you think that should be how it works? What is your view? 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255. Now, he made a point that the fact that they would offer him, significantly less, in his mind, hoping that he'll say no, then the permit is that much, perhaps easier to obtain. But if they get him to do the job for less, then okay, he gets a few dollars more. But how does that, sort of translate into how he perceives his value and worth and sort of opportunities within the organization? Now, is this something that is just a one-off? Is this something that happens more often than we care to admit and accept? 8949-8037 or 1-800-534-8255. We'll pause quickly, take a quarter to a break. When we come back, why don't you share your thoughts with us? Stay tuned for Talk Today.
The 15th annual Cayman Economic Outlook returns on February 28th for another year of educating, informing, and stimulating the local community, bringing together industry thought leaders and business professionals to explore their theme, Dynamic New World, Braving the Turmoil. Speakers include economist Norina Hertz, University of Oxford professor Ian Golden, digital revolution journalist Andreas Ekstrom, biotechnology futurist Jamie Metzel, and professional surfer Mark Matthews. Tickets are selling fast. Reserve your seat at rfceo.ky.
Don't forget to tune in every Monday through Friday for the 7 a.m. news, brought to you by Cayman National Bank, proudly serving the Cayman Islands since 1974. Visit Cayman National Bank today for all of your financial needs.
Need something for your car? Then visit Hell Service Station on Hell Road in West Bay. Over 150 items for you to choose from, including Mother's Car Care products, Back to Black, Turtle Wax, Armor All, Scratch Doctor and New Finish, Wash and Detailer, and many more car care products. CRC electrical sprays and marine grease, bicycle accessories, tire sealers. It's all at Hell Service Station.
Family owned and operated for over 43 years.
At Hell Service Station on Hell Road in West Bay, where you're more than a customer, you're part of the family. Hell Service Station.
The dealer who sells satisfaction.
Headlines.
With the latest headlines.
Headlines.
All the news when you want it. Tune in to Radio Cayman for hourly headlines of the day's top stories.
One of Cayman's bright and shining young stars.
Local, regional, international.
Headlines.
Turning to international news.
Updates on the hour between 7 a.m. and 6 p.m. on weekdays. Radio Cayman News.
Headlines.
Your voice, your choice for today's biggest news.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. 949-8037 or toll free at 1-800-534-8255. You can WhatsApp 925-3261. Message came through questioning the hiring practices of not just the corporate sector, financial services industry, but just across the board. This person asked, why does it seem difficult? Whether it's in the fast food industry, whether it's in the little jobs for students after schools and weekend, seem to be challenging. And one person's comment here is that we seem to give all the jobs to people other than our own. Is that how it is? Well, you tell me. 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255. Or you can WhatsApp 925-3261. And likewise, if you choose, you can send us an email. talktoday@candw.ky. Share your thoughts with us in which way you choose. Now, the comment by a fellow earlier that I was been weighing on heavily is that he was saying it is unfortunate that it doesn't matter what it is that happens in this country. There isn't any meaningful response. Let's go to our phones. Good afternoon. You're on Talk Today.
Hey, Sterling. What's up?
Not bad, my friend. How are you today?
I'm good. A couple of points. I heard a lady call in about it, having people Caymanians in HR.
Mm-hmm.
I know for sure that some of the hotels had a few HR Caymanians. I know one particular guy that was HR in one of the hotels in Submar Beach. He was helping Caymanians and helping the Caymanians into the hotel industry. And they, for some reason, got rid of him. He also was assisting in IT, which was also Caymanian. They got rid of him. And I know that for sure that they have someone who works in our same hotel who's been a supervisor for many, many years. And throughout that time, they brought in 3 people to be that particular person's boss, that they had to turn around and literally train them, train the supervisor had to train them to be their boss, because they didn't know the system, they didn't know how to operate the system, they didn't know how to do simple bookings or anything in the likes. And this is something that is not a hearsay, this is something that I know as a fact. And these are the things that happen. So it's not like the Caymanians don't have the opportunity, it's just they would not give them the opportunity to have that particular job.
Well, I had an interesting thing I share with you, where the fellow shared that he applied for a job, got an interview, was down to about to get the offer all squared away, and they were asking for the documentation for the permit. So he provides his stuff, and they've allegedly discovered, well, you don't need a work permit, you're a Caymanian, and presumably the offer was withdrawn. Now, I've heard a similar version of that story a couple of times. I'm wondering, is that something that really happens to the extent that we hear?
Yeah, well, I have a friend of mine right now who is, now I laugh at him. I even jokingly say to him, he's a Jamaican national, and every time he goes back home during the Christmas, he's been on work permit for many, many years. He's been in Cayman since as long as when I was growing up, and I'm up in my 40s now. And I teased him, and he said, oh, well, he put in his PR. And I jokingly looked at him and I said, dude, don't do that. Don't do that. He said, no, his family's here, his house is here, everything is here. He said, why not? I said, because if you do it, you're not going to get any more jobs. Lo and behold, the guy got his PR. I mean, he used to have construction work lined up. Like, he had to tell people no because he had so many jobs lined up. Now he can't get a work. And he's been out of work now for about 2 to 3 months. And he said, when I didn't have a work permit, people would call me left, right, and center to get stuff done. When he had a work permit, now he has a Cayman status, he can't get a job. As soon as they hear Cayman, they're behind it. It has to stop.
Yeah, man.
And our politicians allow this to happen, and I must admit they're continuously allowing it to happen, because the people coming in with the bottom dollar promising stuff that they do not fulfill. They say, oh, well, we're going to build this massive hotel. We're going to have, 80% Caymanians working. That's not going to ever happen. I've been into the tourism industry well over 30 years. And the only day that I saw a lot of Caymanians in one hotel, and you can remember this, is the old Holiday Inn. When you had the bartenders with bartenders, Caymanians, the food and service, Caymanians, front desk, Caymanians, reservations, Caymanians, house cleaning, security, management, Caymanians. And now you could go into a hotel right now, and you can count them. You can sit in a hotel all day long and count on one finger how many Caymanians work in front line, or work in the front desk, or a bellhop, or concierge.
No,
you don't have no concierge as a Caymanian.
All right. Let me ask you a question, and only because of something that was broached with us earlier again this morning, that part of the reason why you don't have Caymanians, whether in the front line at hotels or restaurants or anywhere in the hospitality sector, or you don't have Caymanians in some of the corporate settings in the financial sector, isn't just because of experience and the skill sets that are not there, but the sheer fact that there isn't enough Caymanians available for all the jobs. What do you think of that? Is that a...
I'm going to call anybody out on that. That's BS.
Okay.
First of all, when you're talking about experience, I came out of high school in the late 80s, right? My first job was at Bob Soda's Diving. Okay? I didn't have no experience about diving. diver. And I'm like, why do I need to be a diver to work in a retail store? Right?
Mm-hmm.
And you need to be able to sell that. I started from there.
Right.
You had a lot of Caymanians who came out of high school with no experience. You have a lot of the people that are coming from other countries are coming here that barely speak English. Where are they getting the experience from?
So then, is it then that...
Is a built-up discrimination, because you will tell me someone's coming out of, i.e., Canada, Ontario, Quebec, wherever, or coming out of England, you're going to tell me they have more experience in selling Caribbean products than the people who live in the Caribbean.
So it's deliberate, as we're used to, straight up saying that they deliberate as employers do not want to hire Caymanians.
Basically, that's what they have them set. They have them set as lazy. They have them set as they don't want to come into work. You're going to find lazy wherever you go. In the U.S., you're going to have people on food stamps. You're going to have people all over the place on food stamps or whatever the case may be. But the fact is, if you have 2,200 people that do not have a job, you mean to tell me you can't get 1 percentile of them to get in the service industry? Yes, the service industry does not pay in an upright of a good salary, but when you get gratuities coming in, gratuities is a big thing.
Right, but let me ask then, if that is the instance, right? With respect, your perception, do you think this new move by the government to put the function of work permits and the like under this new body, the work, right? Do you think that's going to help in the long term to address that issue?
Here's the problem, is that no matter what the government puts into place, if you don't have anybody to enforce it, it's not going to work.
Okay, so enforcement.
Okay,
all
the
right.
enforcement is the problem. Remember years gone by when I had the old tower building? I think it was Mr. Whitaker or Watler, whatever. You go and make a complaint to them of why the company not hiring you because of this or whatever the case may be.
The Labor Department then?
The Labor Department, they were on it. They were on the ball. They were on the ball. Now their hands are tied because of the political interest.
So
when you have politicians who are allowing people to say, okay, we're going to build this massive hotel, we just need tax break and we'll give this amount of Caymanians jobs. No.
All right, but let me ask you then. So if it is that the politician is tying the hands of the civil servant, the board, or whatever, as I think I hear you're saying, then why are we allowing the politician or whoever it is, whether it's a senior civil servant, to do that?
Because of the fear of them losing their jobs.
Okay.
You have to look at it this way. If for example, okay, I'm building a hotel, and I said to you, you're a politician, I need this amount of tax breaks, and we're gonna promise to hire 80% Caymanians. Automatically, you give me the tax breaks. I'm not entitled now to hire these Caymanians for a short period. I can hire them for a short period of time because I already got the tax breaks. What are you going to do, come out and throw the taxes on me? What they should do is say, okay, you go ahead and pay the tax break. Within 10 to 15 years, we're going to give you back is like a rebate. So just like how you buy something at a full place, you go to Walmart or JCPenney's or whatever, you buy the furniture at a full cost, then you mail in the rebate, then you get back your money. You show us that you hired a amount of Caymanians and you putting Caymanians in this type of position, then we could give you a rebate on it. But they're not doing that. They automatically give them a tax break, and then once they give them a tax break, that's it. I'm not entitled to give you nothing no more. Because you already gave me the tax. I already built a hotel.
Well, it's maybe comes down to some of your sharing, and perhaps we need to look at how that whole thing operates. Some people have ask the question when these concessions and the tax breaks that you share are given out. What kind of review takes place? Is it something that happens, quietly? Is it something that should be more, public scrutiny? And should it even happen at all? Or maybe there should be a prescribed criteria, a booklet published and say, if you want a hotel, here's what you need to do.
I've worked in the hotel industry for many, many years. The old Radisson, the old Hyatt, down by the Holiday Inn. And I've seen where everybody worked together. You had the expats that work with the locals. How they build in this community right now is that they're making the locals harder to get a job. Now, the thing is, if you work in concierge and you come to me as a tourist and say, where we could go get local dishes? We were told back in the day at the Hyatt not to mention Champion House, not to mention Wellies, not to mention something else. We were literally told. And back in the day, Champion House, was the place to go.
Yeah, man.
But we were told not to. And if you go to any one of these, stay in one of the hotels and ask them where's a local place to go. They might tell you eat, or they might tell you somewhere else. But they're not going to tell you Wellies, or they're not going to tell you Champion House, or back in the day, they're not going to tell you Myrtle Restaurant or Liberty's in West Bay.
Yep.
That's local.
Yeah, man. Hey, listen, I appreciate it, and thank you so much for sharing some excellent points. Maybe some other people might want to pick up on it. Let's pause and take a break. When we come back, more Talk Today.
Radio K-Man. Radio K-Man's newsroom. These are the biggest stories right now.
The Department of Environmental Health advises the public that a small fire erupted at the Georgetown landfill between 8 a.m. and 8:30 a.m. this morning. Cayman Islands Fire Service was quick on the scene and was able to contain the blaze, which began near the southeast side of the landfill. The DEH anticipates that the smoke will be eliminated by the end of the day, as all the necessary measures are in place to deal with the situation. Good afternoon, I'm Dion Anglin with your headlines and news elsewhere. Scientists are trying to find out why some 20,000 guillemots have died in recent weeks along the Dutch coast. The birds were all emaciated, and there are fears they may have been victims of a spill from the MSC Zoe container ship, from which some 345 containers fell in the sea during a storm. The officer investigating the deaths says chemicals may be to blame, as most plastics are hard to ingest. An 8-story apartment block has collapsed in the Turkish city of Istanbul, killing one person while other people were injured or are trapped beneath rubble. Video from a residential area in the city of Kartal district shows rescuers at work around a mound of debris. Reports suggest at least 4 people may be missing, and a number of cars were also buried in rubble. The cause of the disaster this afternoon was not immediately known. And a groom and his best man have been killed in Ethiopia in an apparent accident involving a grenade belonging to the groom. The grenade exploded after a traditional 10-day honeymoon celebration, during which the best man is expected to entertain the newlyweds. The bride was not present when the grenade went off. That's a wrap of your headlines. I'm Dion Anglin.
Radio K-Man, the voice of the Cayman Islands. What's happening in your community? News and information, music and more. You can find us. www.radiokman.gov.ky. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Radio K-Man is your choice, your voice for today's biggest news. Radio K-Man.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back to Talk Today. Thank you for sharing with us. It is open line. Got a call in the line. Let's happily and graciously and gratefully go to our phones. Right, Miss Susan? Welcome. You're on Talk Today.
Good afternoon, Sterling.
Good afternoon. How are you feeling today?
Oh, still sick, but doing a lot better.
Well, I hope, man, you don't sound your unusual 100%.
Sure ain't.
You guess a number, Ringo.
I am drinking that, believe it. I made a fresh pot night for last night.
There you go. Put a little cinnamon in it, a little,
A little bit of everything.
Yeah, I hope you feel better, man, honestly.
Thank you so much. Darling, I don't know who that gentleman was that just came off the line with you. But I'm going to tell you, we need some more people talking like him.
He made some good sense.
He got it to the core.
Mm-hmm.
And I admire him, and I pray and hope that he continue to come on and talk about what's happening here in our little small island that we so-called home paradise, Cayman time.
Yep.
And you can put any name you want to put on it, but if we're not being treated right, we ain't Caymanian.
Yeah, man. And the thing is, as he was sharing about, and I'm glad in a sense, so unfortunate that it happened, but I'm glad he acknowledged that, as an employee at a hotel, he was straight up told, well, we don't recommend this place and that place. Remember a time ago when we used to hear that the cruise ships would tell us, passengers don't drink the water on shore when they came to Cayman?
Mm-hmm. And don't take the taxis, take a public bus.
Oh, they say that too, huh?
Yes. Mm-hmm. They have someone come off and tell us that, yes. Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Sterling, I just want to, I just hope that this program they got coming out here, what does it work with customs and immigration?
Mm-hmm.
I pray and hope that I will live to see more Caymanians come to the forefront in that situation there. Don't care what their work status is and what type of education they may have or don't have. We need to brush up our people.
Right.
They need to brush up big time. And if we can't brush our people up, these investors ain't going to brush up nobody for us. They're going to keep putting their foot on our back and pressing us to the ground until we get enough and go home and cry and go down to need assessment to get hard words thrown at your social service as well, and your neighbors and your family. Oh, you this, you that. We need to keep our people on a higher level. Stop talking them down and put negativeness on them and their children. Talk positiveness to them.
Right.
When you see the children of today trying to survive, it hurts to the core. But Sterling, visitors ask all day, where can we go to eat with the locals? And I name out those names that guy called out there on a daily basis,
Mm-hmm.
And the hotels are not advertising these local restaurants because they got to sell their food too. But the point is, they ain't got no Caymanian food in the majority of the restaurants on the 7 Mile. People say they come here to eat something from Cayman. They left all this food in Cayman. They don't want this in Cayman. They don't want American food in Cayman. They want this. What Cayman is all about. You understand? But Sterling, I know 2 years ago they were campaigning and saying that immigration was one of the top priorities, that they were going to look into the work permits and so forth and so forth. It's almost going to be 3 years, and I haven't heard of anything stating that we had this amount of permits granted and not granted. The permits are still like raging. Sterling, when you cross immigration in the evening time, 3:30 on my duty, on my service, or that bus, they're out there in the hot, broiling sun, waiting patiently for a chair to be available inside with the envelopes in their hand. I want to know, can someone call and tell us that there have not been any permits granted in the last year, or what were they granted for, how much domestic, how much business permits, and so forth and so forth. We got to stop giving this concession and making our people become poorer and poorer. Third, I was in Foster just Monday with my grandson, and I know a lady, a friend of mine, when she saw me, she called up my name to the peak of her voice. Oh, I just lost my home. And I'm like, oh my God, why, what can I do to help this person? You know what I mean? And she said, I need to talk to you. I said, well, miss, right now, I'm here to pick up some stuff with my grandson and his mother gonna meet us at home. I really can't talk to you right now. So was the ex-worker standing talking to her, so I told her to give her my number. She said, but she called my name. She said, what am I going to do tomorrow? I'm going to be homeless. And I'm like, oh my goodness, this woman made me feel so bad, like I could have moved mountains for her overnight, and I haven't seen her have helped anyone in a foreclosure at any point in time, with no more than a bit of encouragement and so forth, you understand? But she wanted me to fix her situation in Foster for her Monday. And she has a home. And she said, the man took my house. And I'm like, oh, my God. It was heartbreaking. But Sterling, I don't know what going to become of our Caymanians, but our Caymanians need to come out and speak up and tell the government and the people of this island what we need and where are we going to go if we don't stay here and get part of this pie. The pie is getting thinner and thinner. The taxi, they're giving taxi license left, right, and center. They say that anyone who comes for a taxi, they are Caymanians. No disrespect, Sterling. There may be paper Caymanians, there may be a few Caymanians. But the point is, why are you issuing so many paper Caymanians when you got so many Caymanians here who know the island, that can drive this island and give a tour without going to read a book or calling a friend and say, where is Wrong Point? The Caymanians know Cayman by the palm of their hand. You understand? So, Sterling, if we can't help our people, we can't help nobody else. We need to stop helping the man with the money, because then the man that got the money, their money is honest, but mine not honest. I know where I'm coming from. But Sterling, it's heart-wrenching out here to see how my Caymanians are punishing. And I must say I'm part of it too. And by the way, Sterling, I got my certificate at that profit organization. I got my certificate.
Excellent. Those guys are very efficient and very helpful, huh?
Yeah, they sure are. Yes, they were very, very helpful.
Well, that's excellent, man. And you're doing a great job, and it's wonderful that, you continue to persevere. So thank you very much, huh?
Well, thank you, too. You have a great one.
You too.
Bye-bye.
All right. See? Good things from good people. Let's go to the phones. Good afternoon. You're on Talk Today.
Good afternoon, Dwayne.
Afternoon. How are you?
I'm good, and yourself?
Oh, very thankful, Very thankful.
First time calling you too, but I listen to it regularly on a daily basis. So I second that lady remarks and the gentleman before him. Let me tell you something. I go give you a scenario that happened to me this morning, right?
Mm-hmm.
I went on a job site and to look some work. I've worked on a job site before, yeah?
Right.
And the guy that was the foreman, he sent me over to the supervisor. So I went to the supervisor and I told him, I explained my plight to him, and I said, well, I'm looking some work. The first thing he asked me was, do I have a permit? I said, I don't need a permit. Just by the tone of my voice, he should have recognized that, right? I said, well, I don't need a permit to work. I mean, I said, I worked on the site before, and I come back now because they started something new. I said, well, I painted some units, and I come back now to get some work because painting, I can't just sit down and wait for painting alone, right? I was out of debt. So the first thing about it, well, if I have a permit, I said, well, no, I don't need a permit, really. I'm a handed person. I can do anything. And this is the kind of thing that goes on. If you don't have a permit, you can't get no job in Cayman anymore. You understand what I'm saying?
And it's not just in the construction industry. I've heard that same thing happening in the financial sector.
I mean, when I get painting work, I hire my fellow Caymanians because, I mean, who else I going to hire? Who else am I supposed to hire? We Caymanians, we're painters. I mean, guys from West Bay, guys from town, guys from East and North Side. In another job I went to, I've been checking this job from time it came out the ground. The man promised. I said, well, you have anybody doing your painting? No. Well, he said, I'm the first person come and check him, so I must keep checking him. When I keep checking. When I went there this morning, I called the guy Monday, and when I went there today, he said I must call him today. I said, well, I ain't going to call you. I come in person. When I went there to check on the job, guess who I see doing the work? Two foreign nationals. I mean, what should we undo? I said, I need work to maintain myself, my family, my children, my grandchildren. I have to pay my bills. I have to buy gas. I have to eat food. I have to pay insurance and whatever for my vehicle to be on the road. And without no work, what are you going to do? What they left me to do? What is the immigration enforcement doing about all of this? Who enforcing all of this? we Caymanians getting left out in our own country. Where we are run to? Where we are go to? Our money spent here locally, and the people that giving away the work, we the ones who spend money with them in order for them to reach us far. So they should be hiring us back. They should be giving something back to the locals who put them where they is, who help them to reach where they is. But they're not contributing nothing back. They giving the work to outsiders who taking the money, shipping out the country.
If I can ask you, and just to understand, there are those who would say, well, they hire someone in a permit, whether it's in the construction sector, whether it's in hospitality, whether it's in the financial services. They hire this person on a permit because this person is more professional, more competent, more experienced, got better skill sets. Is that really the case, you think, in instances?
No, sir, and that's not the case. That's not the case. I can vouch for that. I've been in the painting industry over 30-odd years now.
Mm-hmm.
And plus other things, I'm an all-arounder. So that's not the case. They just do not want to hire the locals because, I don't know, it's cheap labor. It's cheap labor. It all boils down to cheap labor.
But even, and I don't have the schedule to tell you what work permits cost, but they obviously paying a work permit fee. And they have to pay a salary. So even paying a work permit fee and paying a salary is still cheaper to pay and hire that person on a work permit than it is to hire a Caymanian?
I don't think so, yeah. Because, all right, look at this now. A painter, and I hire guys to paint for me, right? I pay them $15 an hour, $125 or $130 a day.
Mm-hmm.
I can't pay a man less than that. Sometimes I pay him $150 because I am a considerate person. How can you survive in these times on less than $600 to $700 a week? In the construction industry, how can you survive? I find it difficult at times to survive myself. Hard.
Well, you're right. I mean, just going to the supermarket, you pay your electric, your water, your whatever the expenses are. It doesn't take too much to realize that even if you're living in a modest lifestyle, it's still costly.
Mr. Sterling, we need an enforcement arm. But back in the days, immigration used to enforce this kind of thing, right? They used to go on job site and check who doing what, whatever. You hire a guy now to do plumbing or mason work. He doing everything. What a permit? What permit he sent in? What kind of permit he has? Huh? So they flaunt and breaking the laws left, right, and center.
Wow.
Openly. And it's time for the immigration or whatever board to step up and enforce it. Go to these job sites and see what's going on.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. Appreciate you sharing. What else you want to share with us there? And don't make this be last time to call you.
That's what. I think I said enough for now. Right now, I'll say something some other day and some
Thank
other
you.
time.
Anytime you want to, man. Thanks for encouraging us.
You have a good one. All right.
You too. And we certainly want to take some more calls, but quick little break. When we come back, more talk today. Please stay tuned.
I love you. Get your Valentine's roses from Rosie's Roses and receive 10% off fresh flowers ordered by February 13 and be entered to win a $100 gift certificate for Mother's Day bouquets. Order online at rosiesroses.ky. Call 922-5273 or visit Rosie's Roses, Rankin Plaza, Eastern Avenue.
Get your car washed with Diamond Auto Care. $20 car wash special. $30 for SUVs, interior and exterior. Call 928-7336. Diamond Auto Care will leave your car with a sparkle and shine. Only $20. Call 928-7336.
A caring and community spirit, cherished family and cultural values. These are some of the things that still embodies the Caymanian way of life in the Eastern Districts today. Savannah Pharmacy, your neighborhood pharmacy, located in Countryside Shopping Village, is delighted to offer products and services of real value. Whether it's catering to your family's medical needs or carrying apparel, gifts, and beauty products, Savannah Pharmacy provides you with more than just prescriptions. Remember, they're always just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
Join Radio Cayman for Seat 40 with Bob Kingsley.
Hi, this is Bob Kingsley, and this weekend on the countdown, the 40 hottest hits on the radio right here.
CT40.
This here's Saturday afternoon.
From 12:15 until 3:30.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands. Hello, I'm Joseph Woods, the Acting Port Director. Our port facility is the hub of the Cayman Islands commerce and economic activity, handling $658 million in imported goods annually. From groceries to construction materials, all sectors of our economy depend on the port. But it is now 40 years old. Its infrastructure is degrading, and we feel the strain from insufficient space for both cargo and cruise operations. The time is now. A new expanded port facility is needed to allow both cargo and cruise to operate efficiently and to support our island's continued growth and development. Support the port, support our tourism, support Cayman's continued growth and development.
Save time, don't stand in line. You can apply for or renew your trade and business license online 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Just visit dci.gov.ky and click on the Trade and Business Online application link. Now, you don't need to stand in line, take time out of your busy schedule or try to find parking. You can apply for your trade and business license online. Visit dci.gov.ky today and save time for running your business.
Talk today.
But I do have some questions.
Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back to Talk Today. It is open line. A few calls online. Thank you for sharing as we go to our phones. Welcome. You're on Talk Today.
Hey, good afternoon, Dwayne.
Afternoon, man. How are you?
Not bad. It's been a while, man. I'm hoping that you don't remember who I am and my voice you don't recognize.
Oh, yeah, yes, let's go with that.
Anyway, but interesting conversation that you've been having today. And the people that called before me, just before me, the last at least 3 callers were powerful, and I suppose what provoked me to call. I can't add any more to what they're saying, and would only care to bring up. I have one question for you, and then I heard one of your commercials that triggered something, but I heard one question, and it's in line with perhaps the last caller. You know where in West Bay I stay, right? You know where I come from, right? What part of West Bay I come from. There's been a lot of development along there recently, and it triggered my thoughts because I was home for 2 weeks on holiday right after the Christmas. And one particular place that's being built is loaded. Every morning I see the cars from morning through till night. And it got me thinking, because I've been thinking about it for a while, but that kind of triggered it. These job sites, whenever there's a new construction that takes place in Cayman, how do they go about choosing their workers? I mean, there was a time in Cayman where I remember, as a young boy growing up, that people like my grandfather and all those kind of people would be going to look for work at these construction sites, and there'd be a lot of Caymans knocking off at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. But you don't see that nowadays, and it seems that there are a lot of people who are, well, obviously we can't tell who's Cayman and who's not anymore in many instances, but I would venture to say a great deal of them are not from Cayman. And I just wonder how they go about choosing their workers. Is there like some sort of a secret thing, and they kind of know, where the next site is, and or is it that we have new Caymanians who have construction companies or contractor licenses, and they hire the same people? If there's anyone listening that can shed any light about how that all happens, or if you can, that would be very useful, because certainly the construction boom in Cayman is serious nowadays, and if there are Caymans like the last gentleman that was just speaking with you shared that they're going to construction sites and finding that they're not getting any work. I just find it absolutely amazing. Like I said, where I live, I see it every day, and there's 1, 2, 3 construction, major construction going on along that particular road in West Bay, Northwest Point, and I just find it amazing. I just wow, how do these companies choose their workers? Do they have workers already, and it's part of the contract for that particular place, or what are the opportunities for you being, in fact, for major constructions, what are the opportunities for Caymanians who are looking for work? I just trying to figure that out. If anybody can shed any light, that would be helpful.
Yes.
The last thing I want to say, man, which was really triggered by hearing the commercial just before you allowed me the opportunity to be able to ask that question, was I just find it's a little I just find it a little I don't know, irking. I don't know if that's a word. It irks me then when I hear civil servants, particularly senior civil servants, that are doing these commercials for the pro port thing. I don't know if that was ever raised by anyone. I haven't been able to listen to that.
Well, it's I get it almost every day. I'll be honest with you. I had it a couple of times this morning. I shared it on air. I'm not quite sure why, other than the obvious, right? Why some people have called me, sought me out and say, listen, these things with civil servants. I said to one guy, and I didn't mean to offend him. I said, well, I'm not the deputy governor. I'm not the minister for this. I'm not, like you, all of the sentiments that have been expressed and the use of, only because their voices are identifiable, they're put names, Mr. Lumsden and Mr. Joey, in relation to the port and the like. They said, why are civil servants' voices being used in that capacity? And their corresponding question is, should a civil servant now come out against something, the port or something else, will they be equally received, by the public and by the directorate?
Right, because it obviously, I mean, it goes without saying, it's so very misleading, because what would happen if that director or whatever it is that's responsible for that department doesn't particularly feel like they want to support that particular thing? Do they have a choice in there? And are they able to say, well, we don't care to do that commercial? So it's not that it's a civil servant doing it, I suppose. It's more so who it is and within the civil service, and it implies that. I mean, listen, let's just break that one down that I just heard. I mean, we understand that there's critical infrastructure that's needed at the port, and that perhaps that we may have outgrown it and the whole nine, but we're not doing. That's not the argument that's out there. It's to do with the cruise ship berthing facility. I mean, the spin-off of it may be that we get some sort of improvement at the dock itself in terms of space. And again, I don't know too much about that. That specifically, or specifically know too much about that. But, the reality is that I just think it's so very misleading and so very wrong to utilize senior civil servants who may have their own personal conflicts in the midst of that, and how much I'm more concerned about them not having the ability to be able to say, no, I don't want to do that commercial or
well, fast forward down the road, right? And just as a scenario that was brought to me, I'll give it to you as I got it. So down the road, there's a new election. Let's just say there's a new government, right? And that government has says, we're not in favor of the port in this way, or we're not in favor of the port at all. The civil servants who are advocating might say, well, I want to do my job. Will their jobs be secure, or will they now be required to say, well, this is Colin Langley, and I don't think the port is good. This is Joey Woods. I don't think the port is, going forward. How would that play out? It's just a question that was asked of me, and I've said to the people, call the deputy governor, call the governor, call the politician. I'm just a talk show host. My job is very low on the totem pole, huh?
You do, and fine, Dwayne, but you do your job in the midst of that, then you put it out there. You share with us like you're doing right now in terms of those are things that people have raised with you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why the talk show exists, and you have an amazing job in that regard, man. Thanks. I'm glad that other people are sharing it. It has been on my mind every time I've heard one of those commercials. Like, oh my goodness, that just irks me. Anyway, Dwayne.
Thanks, man.
That's my thoughts, man. But if anybody out there knows anything about how these people get work for the construction sites, that'd be helpful.
All right.
All right, man.
Yeah. Well, thanks very much. Thanks for sharing, and appreciate it. And I know we had another caller there. Let's see if it still happens. Welcome. You're on Talk Today.
Hi, Sterling. Good afternoon. How are you?
Very well. How about you?
I am well, thank you. I just had a comment about the caller prior to the last one you had. He made a comment about doing inspections on some of the construction sites to see if people there actually have work permits. But I just wanted to express it's not just at the construction sites that dubious behavior happens, because I work for a company that, in the financial sector, and I find that they do what they do when they want to change the role that's outside of the remit of their work permit. They'll have the person do the work. They'll keep it on the DL that their role has changed, or the work that they're doing has changed. They'll advertise the job. When no Caymanians apply, then they'll put in the work permit for that person that's already been sitting doing the role for those however long length of time. And then the work permit's approved, and it's none the wiser, and then all of a sudden an announcement's made, so-and-so is no longer doing this role, they're now doing this role. Like we're blind or stupid and, don't get what's happened. And they really keep it right
quiet. Across the board, yeah.
Yeah, and it happens, and I'm sure it happens everywhere else. But, for big organizations that are supposed to be, upstanding and law-abiding and all that, no, not so much. They don't do it.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you share, because I've heard that countless times now, and sometimes I don't mean this to offend anybody, but it only comes to light when it happens to particular people, or when what they say, you only know it when you feel it. So some people have shared that.
I even wonder sometimes if there is, some kind of way to anonymously report when we see these observations, and to be able to do that. I have nothing against the person that they're trying to put in that role in any means, but that kind of undermines the whole point for the system, and to give a true opportunity, because they're learning on the job. It also takes away from you see an ad in the paper. First, we were told we need to be qualified. Then we get qualified, and they say, okay, well, now you don't have experience. So these people are getting their experience on the job. It's just.
Well, I heard an instance, and I heard, sort of different versions across different sectors. And a person comes in on a work permit, and not only gets experience, but gets qualifications. So maybe professional designations, additional training, secondment, attendance at conferences. The opportunities that were not and are not being made available to other staff, but it seems to be frequent and accepted.
Yeah, sadly it is. I mean, I could give you countless examples, but I won't get into all that. I just thought I'd share because you brought up that point.
Yeah.
You're most welcome.
Listen, hopefully we hear from you as often as you have time. Thank you so much, and enjoy your afternoon, all right?
Thanks, you too.
Take care. And all of our listeners, thank you for sharing. I hope that when you share something with me, that I repeat it back as you intended. If I don't, like I know one or two of you have already messaged me, hey, you know what, I'll try to get it right. But I would prefer when you call directly and share with us, because then there's no misunderstanding. And I do understand. Honestly, I do. I don't accept it, but I understand. Some of you are saying, you know where I work? And it's not just that they work in government, because a lot of times that's not the case. They work in big private sector law firm, big private sector accounting firm, a bank, or some other place. And there is this fear, sometimes I think, self-imposed censorship, sometimes very justifiable. Now, is that a semblance of a democracy? Perhaps it is. But if right is called wrong, and wrong is called right, and it's accepted, wow. Who are we, to just sit idle by and let it unfold. Have a wonderful, safe, productive, and enjoyable afternoon. Miss Susan tells me it's probably going to rain. Let's see if that's going to happen. And if it doesn't rain, well, doesn't mean that it shouldn't. Oh, no, she didn't tell me that. I'm just wishing for it to rain. What's that song? Rain Down on Me? Maybe she'll play that. Today is Bob Marley's birthday. And as we say, in West Bay, light it up. No, we don't say that in West Bay. Listen, you guys enjoy yourselves. Let's have lots and lots of fun, and let's be of good cheer. And above all, let's be blessed. Until tomorrow.
From district to district, moving through the waters to Cayman Brac and Little Cayman. Your station, your voice. All things Cayman. One radio, many people. This is home.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
After all that talk, sit back, relax. Easy listening on the way. You're listening to Susan on the PM Show, Radio Cayman.